Morning, my loves. Happy Saturday. Well, I was busy yesterday, which is why I didn't do my usual Friday update. Thought it'd be far better saved for a more relaxed vibe on Saturday morning. It was my son's 24th birthday yesterday, so how are you all? How's it all going? And what fun games and shenanigans are coming through for us on this beautiful pathway. The sun has moved into Scorpio. Doesn't matter where you live in the world, whether you're in the southern hemisphere or the northern hemisphere. That's where the astrology is sitting. There's some very, very interesting stuff going on at the moment. I've spoken on regular occasions about the compression. It's the only way that I can describe this particular part of the process, the compression of our process, in order to bring out the very best, bring out the brightest, most radiant, happiest, balanced, love-filled, positive versions of ourselves that we can possibly bring to the table. Many of you will be listening to this at the moment and go, yeah, like we're about as far away from that as you could possibly imagine. And there seems to have been a lot of that, our pathway, our spiritual dedication, where we go, what we do, the things that we experience, the very essence of the human experience itself, particularly for the last 5 years, has been incredibly challenging. It always was going to be. If we think logically about what we have committed ourselves to do and what we're being asked to do, to have any less of that level of intensity in the 20-year period that we have chosen to jump these it's almost like Ascension leapfrog, hopping from 3D to 5D in a microsecond of cosmic time. I don't know why, but recently I've been drawn to watching kind of geology channels on YouTube, and I wasn't one for school myself, and I took geology as one of my GCSEs. I was the guinea pig year for GCSEs, and so I found the school version of geology infernally boring. I just couldn't bring myself to it, no matter how I tried to apply. But now I'm beginning to take a real interest in people that are identifying the layers of, just take say for example, a layer of rock, say on the Jurassic coast where I'm blessed enough to be living, and the millions upon millions of years that it took just to form one smallish section of rock. And then I think about the comparative time that you and I and all of us are kind of having this experience within, and it's like a microsecond, it's like a fraction of time that's occurring, but so much is happening in that tiny little space. If we are measuring this comparatively, and we all know that time is changing, time is shifting. I know it's been said for generations that as you grow older, time speeds up, and I was having this conversation with my youngest, my 14-year-old, the other day, and he was saying, yeah, days feel long. I feel like I've had a full day. And when you speak to somebody who's kind of like, maybe say in my age category, I'm 53 years old, it's flying past, it's blipping past. That is due partly to the say what we're applying ourselves to on a daily basis, the art of living, whether you are taking time to make sure that you are methodical with your day and that everything is done within a certain framework of energy, or whether you are just like rushing from pillar to post like a headless chicken, like a lot of people do, until they suddenly realise that's not appropriate. And but there is also this factor of how time is becoming relevant to the person who is experiencing it, rather than a set framework of time as we had in the third dimension. And I'm finding it very interesting breaking down at the moment how we are each individually, personally experiencing what is going on around us. And for those of you that tuned into my Wednesday WAG session, I have committed myself to a 100-day, I think it's a Siddhana mantra practice that was provided to me by my friend Kirsty Jandrell, who is incidentally, this time next week, I will be with presenting in person in Bishop's Castle. We're going to be holding a beautiful workshop together, a November healing cocoon. It's on the 1st of November, and I think by gum we need it at the moment. So really, really looking forward to that. I'll put the details for the workshop underneath this, and if you can make it and you're drawn to it, then please come along. We've still got a few spaces. And so this mantra practice, it's 52 minutes long. Now I know I've been meditating badly for a long time. When I first bought out my meditation Monday, I know I don't do so many of them now. I felt like I needed to move on and focus on the Wednesdays and the Friday updates. When I first started doing them, they came through as the idea of a walking meditation. A walking meditation being for people who are busy and active like me, but also have the kind of mind that is difficult to still. So when I bring information, I'm constantly on the move. There's always something going on up here, and that's just simply the way I work. I used to try and fight it. I used to try and find different ways of navigating around it, but that's appears to be, for the time being, my natural setting. It's how I create. I'm a very, very creative person, but not maybe artistically. Creative in the way that I will utilize what is being presented to me from the field and transform it into hopefully useful information for you beautiful souls. So this mantra practice is for me personally, it's a huge commitment. It's sitting there for an hour every morning and dedicating that hour to working through these mantras. And I'm on day 7 at the moment. So the minimum is 40 days. 40 days. It's so that's. I thought about it. I thought, well, 40 days. That's great, but I know I'm going to miss it when I stop. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's go for 100 days. So I've committed myself to 100 days of this practice, which will, if my calculations are correct, I will be doing the final one on the morning of the 25th of January. Seems like a long way away at the moment, but it's not. And it was on morning number 3 that I began to actually physically see and feel my reality beginning to reconstruct around me. I could actually see and feel the changes that these powerful Aquarian mantras were having on my reality. Repeated again and again to music in the background. Just the fact that I am there, dedicated, focused, with intent. I've lit candles, I've got crystals around me, I'm sat on one of Donnie and Morris's beautiful scarves to create the energy framework. This is my dedication for the day, and I do it as early as I possibly can after coffee. And it made me wonder how this world would be how rapidly it would shift and change if all of us got on a boat like this and began sailing in the direction of personal dedication. And I know I might be teaching my grandmother to suck eggs here. You might be listening to this and going, well, I've been dedicating a spiritual practice for the last 30 years every morning. And but for me personally, it feels like quite a big thing, because although I've been bringing information, meditations through Ascension information for what feels like a lifetime now, actually sitting down and creating that space every day was something that I had to make a conscious decision to do. We are such powerful alchemists, okay? When we take a gift such as this, I consider what Kirsty passed to me a real gift, and dedicate ourselves to it. The energy that we personally experience, it doesn't completely change your reality. It doesn't make the things that might be maybe scaring you or hurting you or challenging you go away, but it changes how you respond to that. And that's really important at the moment. I feel it's more important than anything else, is having the fortitude, the dedication and the focus to be able to stabilize our entire environment, clear the triggers that we need to clear, because that's another thing that these mantras have been doing. I can feel it. Some more, I'm only on day 7, but I already have like a compiled list of experiences with that. And day 1 felt euphoric. I was just like, wow, this is amazing, you know, like singing along. Sound a little bit like a tomcat, I suppose, to start off with. But as my voice cleared and I managed to kind of move and speak this beautiful language in time to the music, I began to feel my throat clearing. And over the days, my voice has become stronger. I'm not saying that I'm going to have like this amazing singing voice at the end of it, but I can feel that things are changing. But what I love dissecting personal experiences, and the day 2 was not like this. I woke up, I was grumpy, I didn't feel like I wanted to do it. I was like, I had 100 other things to do, and I was like, this is really inconvenient, perhaps I'll do it later. And I was like, no, you are going to sit there and you are going to do it as the sun comes up, because that is the most powerful time. Obviously at this time of year the sun's coming up a little bit later, and so between the hour of 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. I was there doing it, and that is what I've stuck to. Unless I have got something particularly pressing to do, that will be my time. And so day 3, again, we switched back to the euphoric. It just felt beautiful. Everything was flowing. My voice was clear. My body felt good while I was sitting in that, I was sitting cross-legged. And then day 4 was tricky. Again, I felt fidgety. I felt agitated. There was resistance coming up. I wanted to do this. Oh, that crystal's not in the right position. Oh, the scarf underneath me, it's all ruffled up. That, you know, the silly little things that bother you when your mind is trying to be anywhere apart from where it is at the time. And so I'm not going to go through every single day's experience, but it seems to be at the moment for me personally one on and one off. And I shall continue with that, and I shall continue also to witness how it changes my reality, because when you as a human being and when I as a human being begin to respond differently to the energies that are being presented to us, that's when the alchemy begins. Think of the power that just one human being has on their environment. If the field of your heart is pure, radiant resonance, there's no fear in it, yeah, we're always going to have our triggers, the things that we're working through as human beings, but I mean ultimately, generally speaking, as a default setting, our frequency is high and vibrant and bright, and most importantly joyful and happy. The thing that I always feel, whether I've had a difficult session applying myself to this, or whether it's flowing and easy, is at the end of it I feel better. Okay, regardless of my experience during it, there will always be a feeling at the end of it of like, I am so happy I did that. So my message today is find something that dedicates your energy every day. We've been called back into ceremony. This was a message at the beginning of this year from the higher realms, and I think I've spoken about this previously. We're being asked to find a practice that changes our frequency, not because maybe what we're doing isn't enough, because I know all of us are working so hard, and we've been pressed, we've been pushed, we've been manipulated, we've gone through all of these transformations energetically. But this is important, otherwise the Intergalactic Council wouldn't have mentioned it. Simple dedication is best. Even if it's going out for a walk in the morning, take that time, dedicate yourself something. If you're hearing this and thinking, oh my God, how am I going to fit another hour into my day? This is the point at which we need to start looking at how much is filling our day, why it's filling our day, and why we're too busy to take that time for ourselves. Because it's becoming very important as human beings to slow the pace so that we can feel what's going on. We can choose how we react. We can taste the words in our mouth before we speak them to another human being, especially if they are like on a sensitive level, if we are maybe setting boundaries for ourselves, which is something which is very, very important. But all of us on the spiritual pathway is to be able to know our value and our worth enough to be able to be really clear about what is good and what is right for us as individuals. And so I am feeling that the pace of my mind particularly is already responding very positively to this. And when you are clear, when you are aligned, when you are in a state where you are bringing through the energy of your heart into your visions, into the words that you speak, when you are actually able to hear and feel the flow of your higher self, this is the state that we are being asked to be operative in, okay, when we are dealing with what is being presented to us. The natural response of most human beings when they are presented with the world as it is at the moment is to move into a state of shock, fear and anger. That's what the Matrix is trying to produce. A planet full of people that are just in a permanent state of rushing around, worrying about money, worrying about new laws, rules and regulations, worrying about food, worrying about their children or the person at the end of the street, or the news, or education, or healthcare, particularly if you have if you have poorly relatives. We can't change the world directly through the force of our actions, but we can change how we collectively respond to it. And that's how magic and alchemy works. Because if you have a group of incredibly powerful souls who, when faced with a challenge, respond from the heart, clear, concise, precise action taken on the merits of what we have taught ourselves and enabled us to do. I feel very excited about the future at the moment, and I'm feeling excited because I've allowed the clarity of my higher self to begin to flow through this mix of information that is continuously being presented to us, this deluge of negativity. And there will never be more negative information available to you as there is at this time, because that is what is being produced. It's the shadow period, okay? We're being given as much as we can possibly deal with, to alchemize, to bring up. And I've had some incredibly interesting information from my dear friend Diana Cooper as well, about the board of karma, but I'm going to save that discussion for another day because it's quite big, it's important, and I feel that she ought to be putting that out there first as well. So it's I would love within my heart for all of you to be able to actually take the time for yourself to feel excited about this process. I know that might be a tall order, or feel joy within your day. It's our birthright, okay? We didn't come down here to suffer, to struggle, and to be entombed within a process that is continuously stressful. It just brings me back to that conversation I had at the beginning of the year with beloved Mary, Mother of Jesus. She said, choosing joy is obviously your highest path, but this is a path that you will have to work for. And every time I remember those words, they ring even truer than the last time I remember them, because yes, indeed, you have to work to change the construction of the reality. That's the test, okay? That's the test. That's where we are at the moment. So, my loves, on that note, I'm going to go and make myself a second cup of coffee. It's Saturday after all. And if you're coming to the workshop with Kirsty and I next Saturday, look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be very, very healing. It's going to be powerful, but it's going to be healing. It's exactly what we need at the moment. And yeah, then on the 4th of November, I've got a workshop on my own. We're going to be working at retrieving soul shards. Now, soul shards, you might be soul fragments, energies that have been given away during our process, and when we've experienced usually something negative, where we've handed our power over, we've had our power taken away from us, a part of our soul energy usually goes to the person or the group that did the taking. We're going to be getting all of that back. Love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.